Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we have a pretty unique mission.
Yeah, a little different for us.
We aren't diving into geopolitical shifts or, the newest tech platform. We are analyzing the very architecture of learning itself.
Which is fascinating.
Our source material today is a stack of instructional documents. They're designed for the intermediate language learner, focusing specifically on that B1 level of acquisition.
That's right. And our goal isn't just to review the content. We're trying to dissect the blueprint.
The blueprint,
We
exactly.
want to understand how this material is structured to deliver, maximum knowledge acquisition and, this is crucial, rapid confidence building.
So when we talk about efficiency, this deep dive is really about the hidden engineering behind a shortcut to competence,
Mm,
right? And the source material, it's a complete structured listening practice session. It starts with a short story, a really relatable one,
right.
and then immediately gives you vocabulary, comprehension questions, and practice tips. It's a closed loop system.
Designed for speed.
Exactly. We want to analyze this design to see how it acts as a genuine blueprint for becoming a, quote, confident listener.
Mm.
And not just in language, but really in any field.
And this is where it gets so interesting for you, the
Mhm.
listener. What's really amazing here is how the creators took a simple and utterly everyday scenario, a trip to a
Mhm.
cafe, and just maximized every single detail.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Let's start with the foundation, the narrative blueprint itself. The story's called A Busy Day at the Cafe.
I mean, it immediately grounds you in familiarity, right? The speakers go into their favorite local spot.
But the description is more than just geography. They make a point to highlight that the cafe has a warm atmosphere and friendly staff.
And those are your emotional anchors. That's a key insight into B1 material. I mean, if the goal was pure raw efficiency, they could just say the cafe was open.
Sure.
But by focusing on a warm atmosphere, they're teaching these high-value concepts that establish a mood. And mood is just so much easier to remember than a random list of words.
I found that fascinating that they included that detail. It's teaching language that supports an emotional connection, not just a transaction.
I might push back just a little here, though. If we're talking about pure efficiency, aren't they running the risk of, overwhelming the B1 listener with too many sensory details? Why add that cognitive load?
That's a great question. But I think if we look at the next part, the design really justifies it. The material immediately jumps to the state of the cafe when he arrived. It was very crowded.
Okay.
And we get specific activities, people are talking, they're working on laptops, and you get this visceral detail of the smell of fresh coffee. It hits multiple senses.
Ah, I see. So that justifies the complexity.
I think so.
Because by layering in those, three or four quick details, sight, sound, and smell, you, the listener, you immediately recognize that setting. You don't have to translate it, you feel it.
Right.
That relatability, it glues the information to your own memory of a coffee shop. That is scaffolding at its best.
And the action itself is completely practical. Finding an empty table, ordering a cappuccino, a real-world thing every learner needs to be able to do.
But they smartly layer in observations that ground the story in reality. It's not just a robot ordering coffee.
Exactly. We get this external observation, watching people outside shopping, walking their dogs, enjoying the sunny weather.
Hmm.
Then comes the central human interaction, which is just packed with high-value dialogue. The waiter brings the drink and looks visibly tired.
That's the pivot point. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the story's effectiveness really lies in pairing these mundane activities with an emotional contrast. Why even bother with a tired waiter?
Well, I think the material forces the learner to make a small inference. The speaker asks if the waiter is okay, which leads to this really simple, practical line of dialogue. Yes, it's just a very busy day.
Okay, so that short exchange, it instantly teaches two high-frequency concepts:
What are they?
acknowledging an observation and then explaining a state of being, all within a human context.
That's the key. You learn tired and relaxed side by side. The contrast is palpable. The waiter is stressed, while the speaker is feeling relaxed, reading a book, listening to the quiet background music.
That emotional pairing is a powerful memory hook. And then The story wraps up so neatly with that simple social language. The waiter says, "Come again soon."
Every single element is just loaded with immediately usable language.
Yeah.
So this first section proves that simplicity doesn't mean a lack of detail. It means focused detail. Now, let's get into the real engineering, section 2. This is where the material extracts the nuggets of knowledge.
This is where the learning curve really accelerates. The material is smart. It avoids overwhelming the learner by surgically extracting only the most useful terms.
It's a high return on investment for the listener.
Totally.
So that surgical extraction gives us a list of 5 specific words. Let's look at how strategic they are. First, warm atmosphere.
That's the mood,
Then, crowded.
the physical state of the room,
Waiter.
key personnel,
Background music.
sensory element,
And finally, relaxed.
the personal feeling.
Right. So those 5 terms, they encapsulate the entire experience. Mood, environment, people, and feeling.
If you master just those 5, you can describe pretty much any casual cafe experience anywhere in the world. That's efficiency.
And the instructor in the material gives the learner a very clear command. You have to repeat these words and then use them in your own sentences later.
It forces active production. It's the difference between just recognizing a word and actually being able to recall it and use it fluently.
Exactly.
And right after that, to make sure it all stuck, the material tests their understanding with 5 really strategically designed comprehension questions.
These questions are so insightful in how they're structured. They cover the whole spectrum of narrative understanding.
Right. They force you to recall details you might have otherwise just ignored as background noise. They're deliberately organized into cognitive categories.
Okay, so you start with the easiest. That's factual recall. Where did the speaker go last Saturday, and what did the speaker order?
Basic checks. Just making sure you were following along.
But then it escalates. It moves beyond simple recall into inference and cause and effect. The question, why did the waiter look tired?
Yeah, that requires you to connect 2 different pieces of information. Seeing he was tired and hearing him say it was a very busy day.
It confirms comprehension, not just memorization.
And they even test for those little narrative details, specifically numerical or temporal detail. How long did the speaker stay in the cafe? The answer is about an hour.
It confirms you were tracking time, which can be tough for intermediate learners.
Definitely. And crucially, they confirm the emotional processing. The last question is about emotional and atmospheric understanding. How did the speaker feel in the cafe?
The answer being relaxed.
Right. It ensures you didn't just hear the words, you absorbed the entire tone of the scene.
So this raises a question. Why 5 questions structured like this instead of, say, 20 simple ones?
The structure ensures the learner is tracking time, emotion, character, and setting. The full framework. But without cognitive overload. It's like the minimum viable testing needed to confirm the story's fully processed.
It respects the learner's time by only testing what actually matters for retention.
Exactly.
Excellent point. Okay, let's unpack this final section, which I think is the most critical for a general listener, the listener's action plan. After the knowledge is delivered and tested, what's the blueprint to actually make it stick?
This is the application phase. Passive input has to become active output. And the tips they give are so concrete, they're designed to build a daily habit without needing hours of study.
There are 4 key tips. The first 2 focus on consistency and muscle memory. First, listen to short stories every day.
Consistency over volume.
Second, repeat new words. Just simple repetition to drive vocabulary into long-term memory.
But the real power, for me, is in the third tip. It doesn't just say repeat words. It says, try to describe your own day in English.
That is transformative.
Isn't it? It forces personalization.
Mm.
You've taken this abstract input, the cafe story, and now you have to use its structure and its vocabulary to talk about your own reality.
Right. It's the moment of maximum transference.
Exactly. You don't just know what crowded means in the context of the story. You can now use it to describe the bus or your office. You're forcing your brain to retrieve and apply the new information in a scenario that matters to you.
It turns the learner from, like, a parrot into a conversational architect.
That's a great way to put it.
They're building their own sentences, but using the scaffolding that the material provided.
And the final piece of advice, it addresses the single biggest psychological barrier to fluency in any domain.
Which is,
Don't worry about mistakes. Focus on progress.
that emphasis is so crucial for confidence. The designer knows that learners, especially at this stage, they just seize up when they worry about perfection.
You're given explicit permission to fail.
Mistakes are where the growth happens.
And because the steps before gave them such a clear structure, a story model, 5 words, a quick check, they have a safe space to fail and a clear path to succeed. The whole process isn't just about transmitting data. It's about psychologically preparing the learner for independent exploration.
It's the final anchor, the confidence booster.
Yeah.
So, if we step back and look at this whole thing, we've analyzed a genuine masterclass in information design.
For sure.
The effectiveness comes from using a simple, relatable scene, pairing it with very specific, context-relevant vocabulary.
Testing immediate comprehension across all those domains, facts, inferences, emotions.
And then providing direct, personalized, daily practice strategies. It's a high-speed knowledge injection system. It maximizes retention while minimizing your time commitment.
The efficiency of this deep dive just shows how even basic instructional material can be designed with these profound psychological and practical anchors to help memory and speed up learning. This entire sequence is the blueprint.
The source material ends with a really simple, powerful bit of encouragement. Keep practicing, stay motivated. But let's apply this framework beyond language learning, to your life. You are probably facing some complex task right now.
Could be a work project, learning a new piece of software, mastering a difficult skill.
Look at the blueprint we just analyzed.
Yeah.
Could you break that task down into a short daily scenario that grounds the knowledge in reality?
And could you extract, say, the 5 core concepts that offer the highest return on your investment? And crucially, could you come up with 4 actionable steps?
One of which has to be personalized output, forcing you to use the new skill immediately to describe your world.
That structured approach, using relatable context, daily repetition, it's a blueprint for mastery in any subject.
The secret to accelerating learning isn't just about consuming more data. It's about meticulously designing the retrieval and the application process. Now, go figure out your 5 core concepts for tomorrow.